You know that one person. Something breaks. Leaking pipe, dead battery, corrupted file, complete emotional crisis. And while everyone else in the room is quietly spiraling, they just go still for a second. No panic, no frantic Googling with shaking hands. They think. And then they start doing something about it. And you're standing there, heart rate elevated, wondering what is fundamentally wrong with you, that your first instinct was to either cry or find that exact person. So what actually separates them from the rest of us? Here's the thing. It's not experience, it's not intelligence, it's not even confidence. Not really. And once you understand what it actually is, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. In the late 1970s, psychologist Albert Bandura identified something that sounds deceptively simple, but turns out to explain an enormous amount about human behavior. He called it self-efficacy. Strip away the academic language, and it comes down to this: your belief that you are capable of handling what's directly in front of you. Not general optimism, not a vague sense that things will work out eventually. Something far more specific than that. The quiet internal conviction of, I've handled things before, and this thing in front of me is handleable. Bandura found that this belief alone, independent of actual skill or knowledge, dramatically changes how long someone persists at a problem before giving up, and how much effort they continue pouring in when it gets genuinely hard. It's not what they know. It's what they believe about themselves in relation to the unknown. Psychologist Julian Rotter spent years studying something he called locus of control, the degree to which a person genuinely believes their own actions determine outcomes, rather than luck, circumstance, or forces outside themselves. People who sit firmly on the internal end of that scale don't just fix things more effectively. They're measurably less likely to develop depression. They cope with stress in ways that don't involve dismantling their lives. They persist longer, they recover faster. This pattern has been documented across different cultures, different age groups, different economic backgrounds. The belief that your effort actually matters turns out to be one of the most protective psychological traits a human being can carry. And most people who have it were not born with it. It started from specific moments, usually in childhood, where someone either handed them agency or left them no choice but to find it themselves. Sometimes it was a parent who said, "I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to help you find it." And sometimes it was a parent who simply wasn't there at all, so the kid learned to be their own answer. Both pathways lead to the same place. Here's the part that surprises most people, because from the outside, this looks like confidence. It looks like certainty. It looks like these people somehow know it's going to be okay. They don't. When someone who's good at fixing things walks into a broken situation, they are not carrying a guarantee. They feel the same uncertainty you feel, the same not knowing, the same awareness that this might not work. What's different is that the uncertainty doesn't feel like a verdict to them. It feels like a starting point. Psychology has a name for this: tolerance of ambiguity. The ability to sit inside a situation where you don't yet have the answer without completely unraveling while you work toward one. People who struggle with ambiguity need resolution immediately. They need to know it's going to be okay right now. And when that reassurance isn't available, when the outcome is still genuinely unknown, the anxiety floods in. They freeze, or they quietly hand the problem to whoever seems calm and back away slowly. The person who stays calm learned, somewhere along the way, to be okay in that uncomfortable in-between space, to function inside the uncertainty instead of being paralyzed by it. I want to pause here and say something directly, because this video would be doing you a disservice if it didn't. Some people who can fix everything, and I mean everything, practically, emotionally, logistically, for everyone around them at all times, are not doing it from a place of genuine strength. Some of them learn to fix things because that was how they earned their place. The approval lived in the solution. Being helpless was, at some point in their life, genuinely dangerous. emotionally, relationally, sometimes literally. So their nervous system made a decision. I will never be helpless again. And they built a whole identity around that decision. That's not a superpower. That's a coping mechanism wearing a superpower's costume. The tell? Ask them to let someone else handle something. Watch what happens. They can't fully relax. They hover. They offer suggestions nobody asked for. They need it to be fixable. Not just for your sake, but because an unresolved problem somewhere in their environment feels like an unresolved problem inside of them. That version deserves to be named for what it is.
But then there's the other kind, and this is the one worth paying real attention to. The person who fixes things because broken things genuinely fascinate them. The gap between not working and working is one of the most interesting places in the world to them. They'll tear something apart they've already successfully fixed just to understand it better. They'll ask questions with no practical application. They'll explain exactly what went wrong with a level of detail nobody requested, completely delighted, like they just discovered something beautiful hidden inside the mundane. These are people who fell in love with competence itself, not the outcome, the process, the figuring out. And spending real time around people like that is one of the most quietly recalibrating experiences available to you. Because what they model, without even trying to, is that not knowing how to do something is just a temporary condition. That broken isn't a permanent state. That you can put your hands on a problem and actually move it.
You might be sitting with this right now, realizing you're one of these people, and you've never quite examined why. Or you might be realizing you're not, and the idea of being this way feels genuinely foreign, almost like a different species. If it's the second one, here's what I want to say to you directly. The reason you outsource your broken things isn't a character flaw. It's a history. A specific collection of experiences that quietly taught you that problems are things that happen to you, rather than things you happen to. And that architecture, as durable as it feels, is not permanent. Bandura's entire argument about self-efficacy is that it builds. Through experience, through small wins, through tiny moments of, I tried this, and it actually worked. Not grand heroic fixes, not dramatic turning points. Just, you tightened the screw. You made the call. You didn't wait for someone to rescue you. Just this once. That's where it starts. That's always where it starts. But understanding why you're wired this way is only half of it. The harder part, the part most people skip, is doing something with that understanding. Because awareness without structure has a way of becoming just more material for your brain to loop over endlessly. You see the pattern, you name it, you think about it a lot, and nothing actually moves. That gap between insight and real change, between getting it and actually living differently, that's what I've been trying to address for people watching this channel.